What's up, guys? Welcome back to our Sundays in the Sauna video segment on our YouTube channel. Today I wanted to share just five very practical steps to facing resistance. And the way we will define resistance for the sake of this little conversation is voices in your head that are trying to get you to not take action or delay action on something that is creative or something that you've already committed to. For whatever reason, creative endeavors seem to flare up resistance in ways that not everything does. And when you have committed to undertaking a project or you have a responsibility, you need to follow through on that. And resistance can oftentimes try to get you to delay action on those too. So resistance, voices in your head trying to get you to not take action or delay action on something that's creative or that you've already committed to do. Just five very practical things that have been helpful for me, because this is an area that I face resistance a ton. And maybe you guys do too. I'd be curious to hear in the comments of this video if you don't mind leaving a comment, because part of what I'm looking for here is to just share these five very practical things for me, but I'd be very curious to know what's working for you. And if you want to drop those in the comments below, I'd really appreciate that. I would definitely read them. First, Stephen Pressfield has done all the work on this in his book, The War of Art. It's the best. I've read it at least once. And so he's the expert. So I'm in no way trying to be the expert here, but I wanted to share five very practical things that have been helpful for me. One or two of those did come from Stephen Pressfield's book. First thing, when you wake up in the morning, get out of bed. Do not lay in bed ruminating. When you wake up, get out. There's something about first thing in the morning when you lay in bed, thinking about your day, just kind of relaxing, thinking, who knows, letting your thoughts run wild. You know, maybe you guys have a different experience, but for me, that is almost never positive. Those thoughts first thing in the morning when I'm laying in bed do not tend to be helpful whatsoever. And this is something that I heard Stephen Pressfield say recently on a podcast, and it was like, ooh, once I heard it, I got it, I resonated with it, and I've been paying a lot of attention to this since. When I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed immediately. I don't lay there and think about what could be different or my day, or I don't lay there and think at all. Alarm clock goes off, it's time to get up, get out of bed immediately. That's super helpful. Exceptions for this on a Saturday morning, if I'm sleeping in, I of course want to stay in bed as long as I possibly can on a Saturday morning with my wife. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about during the week, you wake up, get out of bed immediately. Letting your thoughts run in bed in the morning do not seem to be helpful at all. So just take that opportunity off the table. So that's tip number one. You wake up, get out of bed immediately, get your day started. And it sort of ties in with tip number two, which is just get started. When I think about how often, and I mean pretty much every time, say I'll go on vacation or have a couple of days off, say at the end of the week, and the new week's about to start, and you've got, more unread emails than you're used to, and you're kind of getting back into things at the office and getting back into your responsibilities and getting back into the grind of things. And not only do you have to, of course, work on you're coming back into like a workflow that's already existing, but you have to catch up. On top of getting into the existing workflow, there's something about that re-engagement process that for me historically has been very daunting, and in so much that on a Sunday afternoon it'll really get in my head. Like if I've been off for a week or I've been off for a few days, on Sunday afternoon into the evening, I'm thinking about catching back up, all the things I need to catch back up on, getting my feet back under me for the week and kind of re-engaging. And what I have started to do when I want to, but I've found it extremely helpful, is just get started on a Sunday afternoon. I do not like to come back from vacations on Sundays whatsoever, certainly not Sunday afternoons, and God forbid like a Sunday night. I mean, I used to do this when I was younger. We basically stopped doing it because getting back from vacation or some time off on a Sunday night, going right into the workday the next day is like, all right, we're too old for that. That's no fun. That sucks. Let's stop doing that. So that's been super helpful. But in the case of, say, you get back on a Sunday, you get back on a Saturday, whatever it is, you have some time off. For me, it's been really helpful just to grab my computer, just an hour or two. Like if you have 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon to go back in, start replying to some emails, start catching back up, get your head around some of the things you missed, get your head around some of the things you want to do that week. Revisit that to-do list, see what's going on, put some things on there that you no need to be on there. Just get started. That is super helpful. So that's one example of like just getting started. Another example could be, there's a project that you've been delaying on. This also happens frequently. You have some projects that are more fun than others, and the ones that tend to not be so fun, for whatever the reason, they just sort of stack up and they're in the kind of the back of your mind and they can really bother you. Just get started on them. So number one, with facing the resistance, get out of bed immediately when you wake up. Number two, just get started. There's something about just getting started where it's like, that's like the hardest part of the process, it seems like. If you can just get started, then like you get energy going in that direction, you get momentum, and it can, I don't want to say the rest takes care of it from there because that's not the case, but man, you're getting like the biggest domino out of the way by just getting started. So wake up in the morning, immediately get out of bed. Number two, just get started. Number three, workout. Countless times, and I mean countless times, probably not every single day, but most days. I wake up, I have my 2 cups of coffee within an hour or two of waking up, and then I will feel, mid-morning, I will feel some amount of anxiety and have some amount of voices in my head that when I go to the gym midday, because that's when I like to go, I'd rather go into the office early and do what I got to do first thing in the morning so I can work out middle part of the day. That I enjoy so much more than working out first thing in the morning. I really don't enjoy waking up and going straight to the gym. Works for tons of people and that's great. I just don't like it. But the amount of times that I will feel like everything is wrong in the world by mid-morning and I go to the gym, work hard, sweat, just give it your all, shower, heading back to the office and feel settled. All those things that you thought were wrong with the world, all of a sudden it's like, they're not so bad after all. Life seems to be like, it's kind of okay. So, but I do think there's 2 things that are important with working out. One is using weights, whether that's body weights or whatever. Using weights is good there's lots of reasons. But number 2 is mixing in intensity. So I don't know that it would be that helpful to go to the gym and do some bench presses, for an hour and some squats or whatever and call it a day and head back. I don't have any experience with that because of the types of workouts that I tend to do with CrossFit, which is mixing weight and intensity. So there's a cardio element to everything. So there's something about that, laying it all in the field with sweat dripping, maybe there's a little bit of blood mixed in, you're just kind of pouring it all out there, doing that for an hour. I have found to be really, really, really helpful with facing resistance. So get out of bed first thing in the morning, just get started on whatever it is you're delaying on or that's in the back of your head or that you're dreading that is started building up and has become this big thing in your mind. Just get started on it. Number 3, go to the gym, do a workout. That does tend to, the voices get quiet quick when I go and do a really hard workout and give it my all. Number 4 is look for truth in what the voices are saying. So if you have these voices in your head, then, and you don't have time to do this every time because a lot of times you'll start to develop, you'll start to notice patterns and you'll be able to identify what's going on very quickly and just kind of know like, all right, those voices have nothing to offer me. They're just trying to get me to not take action or procrastinate. But every so often, if you're not sure, then explore it. Maybe the voices in your head have something to say. So put them to the test. What's true about what they're saying? Is there truth in there at all? Is there lots of truth in there? Because you don't want to miss an opportunity for maybe something that's trying to give you direction or wisdom. So just look for truth with what the voices are saying. A lot of times it could be like, don't do this because no one's going to care. You're going to look stupid. You're dumb. No one cares about what you have to say. No one's going to care about what you write. You're going to get misunderstood. Whatever it is, if it's those types of voices, then that is probably not a reason to not take action, because everyone has those thoughts. So just put these voices in your head to the test. Look for truth in them. And if you can't find truth, then there's your answer. It's just the resistance getting loud in your head. So get out of bed immediately. Just get started. Go to the gym every day. Look for truth in the voices. And number 5, do it for yourself. Now, if this is an area of responsibility, if this is an area that you've already committed to, then of course, you owe other people it as well. But creative endeavor, whatever it is, do it for yourself, because if you make the voices be quiet, if you force the voices to be quiet by taking action and it doesn't work out and the action fails, or it falls flat, or it falls on deaf ears, or it's not what you expected it to be or to do or whatever, but you did it for yourself, then you have that element of personal integrity, personal satisfaction, personal fulfillment. You know that you made the voices be quiet and you took action, and if it didn't work out, but you did it for yourself, then it's still mission accomplished. But if you made the voices be quiet and you did it for other people or their expectations, then it doesn't work out. That can cause cynicism with the process. So do it for yourself. Your opinion of yourself is what matters the most. What other people think of you is none of your business, truthfully. So do it for yourself. Those are 5 very practical things that have helped me face resistance, make the voices be quiet in my head when they're trying to get me to not do or to delay action on something. And I'd be really curious what some of the things are that have been helpful for you also. If you would, just leave those in the comments below.